Alright. So I'm in my same posture. Alright? This is now Connor's face. Alright? This is the side of his face. Okay? So what happens is I'm here. What I could do instead is step in and blast him. Now, the reason I'm hitting with this part of my hand is it doesn't hurt. There's a rule. You never hit a hard thing with a soft thing. I'm sorry, you only hit a hard thing with a soft thing. This is soft. I'm not going to break my hand when I hit him. So what happens is, I'm going to close my hand, I'm going to turn this sideways, I'm going to pull my elbow beyond the pad, I'm going to come through, and then I'm going to come back to that defensive position in case I have to follow up with something else. Alright? So it happens from here, and back, and back. Is that easy? Madison, come on up.
Nice.
Alright, Madison, if we worked this out before, we should be done this?
Oh, no.
Have I showed you do this before?
No.
Do you know how to do this technique?
Sort of.
Sort of. Alright.
You can do it, Madison.
Alright.
Come on, Madison.
So do it with me first. So he's there. We step back into our defensive stance. Chin down, hands up. Alright? But now, get a little closer. You can get him from here. You gotta control the distance, Madison. Come on, control your distance. So now what happens? Close the hand. Come on out.
You want me to do it?
I want you to do it hard. Yeah! Alright, now I want you to knock him out. So I want you to hit that as hard as you can. Remember, you're in a situation, you don't know what this guy can do. Hey, look, he looks crazy. Get that out there. Bang on it. Yeah! Alright. Madison did well, didn't she?
Yes.
Alright.
Are you done with me?
I'm done with you. We have eliminated the threat. Connor can sit down. In the situation, was the technique that Madison and I engaged in very, very simple? Yes, you could do this tomorrow. You can do this today. I'm not recommending you do this, right? Don't be getting in fights and saying, hey, let me try out the side hammer fist strike. That'd be awesome, right? But that is very, very easy to teach people. If you have something in your behavioral arsenal that allows you to be good at aggression, are you more likely to use it? Yes. So what happens is one of the ways you can increase aggression is put people into a situation where they now actually have some skill in that regard. The unfortunate thing here, though, is the cliche about hammers. To hammers, everything looks like a nail. So when you learn these skills, you might learn these skills to the detriment of other skills of conflict resolution if you didn't have that. If I did not believe that I could hopefully come out relatively unscathed in a physical encounter with an attacker, I would do something else, right? Unless I absolutely had to do that. But if I think I can take this guy, I'm going to be more likely to engage in aggression in that situation. So this is why teaching people how might be a problem. Now the social side behind this comes from Albert Bandura. And what he said is we can learn things by watching. So just like Madison did, right? She learned by watching. We hadn't trained her before, and she had no warm-up or anything like that. Thank you for not getting hurt. That was a good thing, right? And she came up based on 30 seconds of instruction. She was able to mimic the technique. Now, if she practiced that 50 times a day for a week, she would be a lot better than she was even then, but she was pretty good right then too. But it would not be hard to get good at that. And Bandura says you can learn by other people watching. You can do it by seeing someone else do it. And if Madison screwed up, we would learn from her mistakes too, right? So it's not complete imitation. What you do is you learn that that person does something and a consequence occurs. If it goes well for that person, you'd do the same thing. If it didn't go well, you would critique it, change it, revise it, or do something differently, right? So what happens, this is not complete imitation. I am taking in information that I see, and then I make a call about my own behavior. So I'm data collecting, right? To use our research room. I'm collecting data as I watch this happen. I then think about the data. I process the data. I analyze the data. and I act on it in a way that is advantageous. I use it to my advantage, to my benefit. If Madison did it well, I'm going to do it just like her. I'm going to imitate her. But if Madison messed up, I'm going to do something different. Right? So you take in information, you think about it. If it makes sense to imitate, you imitate. If it makes sense not to imitate, you won't imitate. So what that means is this is a cognitive theory rather than a straight reinforcement theory. A straight reinforcement theory means if you do it and it goes well, you do it again. If you do it and it doesn't go well, you don't do it again. This says, I'm going to see what might happen in doing it. I'm going to consider what my behavior is. I'm going to revise it if necessary. And then I'm going to decide not only whether to do it, but when to do it. So there's a lot of thought involved in this processing. You data collect, you analyze your data, and then you decide on the most appropriate consequence given the situation that you're in. This is how social learning theory works. Now the most famous study, examining social learning theory is the Bobodoff studies, right? This is what Ben Dora was known for. Now, he said, and I told you before earlier in the semester, he's not an aggression researcher. He's a social learning researcher. It's just that aggression was one of the things that he studied in that regard. So we have his infamous Bobodoff study. And I think I mentioned earlier in the semester, my one brush with fame, I rode in the elevator with Albert Bandura, just he and I didn't say anything. I just looked at the floor because I had nothing to say. You got to prepare yourself for those situations. I completely botched it. I completely missed it. I didn't even watch his talk that day. I couldn't say anything. I could talk. I didn't even say that. I was like, oh, it's Albert Bandura. And I couldn't think of anything on the 7 floors that we went up or down together. He started his talk by saying, hi, I'm Albert Bandura, and I'm not just the Bobo Dog guy. Because even he knows that that is everybody's first affiliation with him. So in this, and you've probably seen footage of this, but kids watched a model attack the Bobo Doll. And I'm not saying a model like a, cosmopolitan model or any of those kind of things. I mean, a model is someone who is doing the behavior. Okay? So they saw someone do the behavior. This is where social modeling comes from. So they saw an adult come in and attack a Bobo doll. And a Bobo doll, for those of you who don't know, those little blow-up dolls, you push them, they fall over, but they come up. You've seen these before? We have these in martial arts. We call them Wave Masters. They're pretty excellent. So model anything here that conveys information. Madison was a model a second ago. Connor and I were models a second ago. Connor said, yeah, he was. The model's behavior in this scenario is either reinforced or punished. So the adult comes in, the model comes in, bangs on the Bobo doll. They either were rewarded, they got some stuff for it, or they were punished. They're told, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Question? If the model is reinforced for the behavior. So the model comes in, bangs on Bobo doll, gets a treat. Do the kids bang on the Bobo doll? Yeah. Absolutely. So vicarious reinforcement, right? Reinforcement they saw somebody else get. That's what vicarious means. So vicarious reinforcement that somebody else get, increased the kids' own aggressiveness on the Bobo doll. They saw the other person do it, something good happened, they said, I'm going to do that too. Yes, sir.
So isn't attacking a Bobo doll not aggression because it's not a person?
I would say it's probably not actually aggression according to the definition, but it's been talked about as aggression for a long, long time. And that has to do with the generalization of the results that people want to make. That is an excellent question. What happened when the model was punished? The model said, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Kids didn't do it, right? So vicarious punishment, when you saw the model get punished for doing the aggression, the kids did mimic the aggression. They didn't attack the Bobo doll. And to get around Sam's reservation for the rest of this example, we'll assume the Bobo doll didn't want to be hit. I don't even get a smile for that. Come on, y'all. Thank you, Jaylee. I appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody with me so far? Alright. These are some pictures, right? So up here, you see the woman, the model here, is attacking the Bobo doll with a hammer. Because of course. And now you see the little kid over here very gleefully coming in like an axe murderer on that thing with her hammer. Right? So that would lead me to believe that the model on top had been rewarded, had received vicarious reinforcement from the perspective of the child. They said, hey, they did it, something good happened, I'm going to do it and hopefully get something good to happen too. So what we got is a situation like this. We got boys, we got girls. And here they've given no incentive. It'll make more sense if we compare it to an incentive situation in just one second. So what happens here is you see boys and girls. In this case, the model was rewarded for beating on the Bobo doll. We see that their levels are high-ish, although who's it higher for? Boys. Boys than it is for girls. And this kind of shows you how early gender roles develop. Because aggressive behavior is more consistent with the male gender role, right? So they're picking that up quickly. Now the model is punished. You see that their levels are lower than they were here. There's a significant difference here and a significant difference here.